Tommy Fury's just give Jake Paul the first defeat of his career, and Jake's response at the end of the fight was, "Don't judge me by me wins, judge me by me losses."
All respect to Tommy, he won. You know, and don't judge me by my wins, judge me by my losses.
So that tells me that there's going to be a rematch. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you who I think will win and why if they do have a rematch, which probably will surprise you. And what an interesting fight that was, from the build-up all the way through until after the fight. Now, I just want to take my hat off to Tommy Fury. He's 23 years old, and the pressure that he was under was ridiculous. Not only to be fighting in front of millions of people, he's the first real boxer to fight Jake Paul, but also to be carrying the Fury name, to be constantly under his big brother's shadow. And especially when his dad and his brother said, you know, if you lose to Jake Paul, you're going to change your last name. And yeah, it looked to us like, yeah, they're joking and carrying on, and Tommy looked confident, but you could see at the end of the fight the emotion in his face, and he even said the pressure that he was under was immense. And it was the same age as me when I competed in the Olympic Games, 23 years old. And yeah, I had some pressure on us, but anything that I won from there was a bonus. But with Tommy, he had to win. He's never been under the spotlight like this before in boxing. And yeah, people were saying, well, he's been around his brother for a long time while his brother's been under it. Yes, that's his brother. But when you're under it, the stuff that goes on in between your ears is crazy. And he did it. So hats off to him for doing this. Now, during the fight, I could actually see that Tommy was more experienced than Jake, the way he was moving in the ring. You know, he was doing what his brother does, where he's moving around, fainting, keeping him thinking. Well, he was doing that in some of the earlier rounds when he was having success when he was doing that. It was kind of when he stood still and planted his feet where Jake was, you know, landing them punches. So this was the first time I've ever seen Tommy Fury box. I've seen highlights of him before and I wasn't that impressed then, but watching him and really paying attention to him, I could see exactly what he was, which was a 8-fight professional novice type boxer. But you can also see that he was a prospect as well. But I wasn't that impressed. A lot of like kind of arm punches that he was throwing. I actually gave Fury the first round. Then the second round, Fury was a bit more relaxed, but it was a closer fight. Jake started landing some jabs, landing some punches and putting some pressure on him. So that round could have went either way. And Paul was planting his feet and looking for the power punches a lot. And he was really loading up that big right hand, that big Tyron Woodley knockout power punch throughout the fight. Even though that Fury had his left hand low, which left him wide open for that punch, because Jake was loading up that big right hand all the time, he was never going to land it. He had to be working more behind his jab if he wanted to actually have success with that. You need to throw feints, jab the body, throw feints, jab the head, throw feints. And then you've got the chance to land that big right hand. But when you're walking around the ring and you can see the right hand like kind of shaking a little bit because you can see he's going to load it up, you're never going to land it, which he didn't. In the third and fourth round, Fury was getting more relaxed and moving and feinting even more, but then he slowed that down, and that's when Jake was having success by planting his feet and stepping right in with that good solid jab and stepping right in with that right hand, even though the right hand wasn't landing the way it should have been landing. Fury had some nice success with the uppercut in there, but the power just wasn't in the punches. But at the same time, when he's the size he is, cruiserweight, with them big arms, even the light punches will be affecting Jake because it's kind of putting you off your rhythm. And I've been in there before with fighters when they're just popping that jab out. And if that jabs keep hitting you, it kind of takes you out of your game plan because it's putting you off what you're going to do. Because now, rather than me thinking about, all right, I'm going to feint the jab to the body and come over with that right hand, what Jake might have been doing. Now he's thinking, oh, I've just been hit with another jab. How can I get out of the way of that jab? Boom. Oh, I've just been hit with another jab. So with Fury's long, nice jab was taking the game plan away from Paul. And something that I've seen that I've never seen before in boxing was where the interviewer interviewed Logan Paul in between the rounds. I think it was round 3 and 4, 4 and 5. And everyone in the crowd could hear because it was on the big speakers. And Logan Paul said, Tommy, if you can hear me, you're a bitch. You're getting tired.
Tommy, if you can hear me, you a bitch, bro.
And I know that Tommy would have heard that in the ring. And these are little mind games that these Paul brothers play. You might be thinking, well, that's unfair. That's so unprofessional. But no, I don't blame them. I think it's very creative. It's a creative way to help your brother have success, even though it didn't end up working in the end. And I don't agree with them having the mic on loud like that, but this is the Paul brothers and it's what they do. And in the 5th round, what really surprised us was when Jake Paul got a point, it took off. I know he'd been told before about hitting on the back of the head, but I never even seen it clearly and they never showed the replay, so I don't know how bad it actually was, but I was shocked that the referee jumped in and took a point off Jake Paul. Now, there's another thing that can take you off your game plan as well, when you've just lost a round by potentially 2 points. So now, Jake must be feeling in the ring that he's fallen behind. He's getting caught with these jabs. He's getting caught with these flurry of punches, even though they're not doing damage, they still land. And then he's just lost a point. And with all of that going on, and then Jake trying to throw his big right hand and loading up and missing, he's still staying mentally strong in the ring. He's not quitting. He's still pushing forward. He's still taking the fight to Tommy. And then coming towards the end of the fight, Fury was still landing some uppercuts in. And getting punched with the uppercut in boxing is horrible. I mean, getting hit with a jab across a hook, yeah, you're used to it. But when you get hit with an uppercut and it knocks your head back, it really does disorientate you. And that is the punch in boxing, when if someone hits you with that, it does make you feel stupid. It's like a cockney punch. It's like if you're playing football and someone kicks the ball in between your legs and megs you. But again, it's some more controversy Jake Paul got in the fight and he still pushed forward. Then Tommy Fury got a point took off, which I was like, what the hell? Where did this come from for holding as well? But Tommy was holding a lot in this fight from the first bell all the way through the last, and he was doing it in an experienced way of holding, because there is a way in boxing where you can hold your opponent, but to everyone from the outside, it makes it look like your opponent's holding you. And that is by getting your arms tangled in a way where you can get your arms up like that, and you've just got your opponent's arms so he can't move them. You've got your arms up so it looks like he's holding you. And Tommy Fury was doing that quite often in the ring. But by the end, the referee got onto it and he took a point off Fury. And then in the last round, Jake Paul scored a knockdown with a jab. Now, people were like, it was a slip. No, mate, it was a knockdown. He threw the jab. He landed the jab on Tommy Fury's face. Whatever happened to his feet and all that, it doesn't matter. If he didn't throw that jab and that jab didn't land, Tommy wouldn't have went down. So, mate, that classes as a knockdown, right? So how did I think the fight should have been scored? Well, I had Tommy winning by 1 or 2 rounds going into the last round, and then that knockdown was scored. So I could have seen the fight going a draw or Tommy just nicking it, which he did. I think the score was correct. So they've got a rematch clause, and I think that will be happening. And all the commentators and all of the media team after was saying, oh, it was a great fight. We should see it again. They definitely should do it again. It's a no-brainer. We really want them to do it again. I've never heard commentators talk about a rematch as much in my life as I have talking about this straight after fight. And the reason why they're doing it is because they've just had a nice first-class ticket to Saudi Arabia, and by what I'm hearing, they're getting treated like kings out there. So of course they want a rematch, because they'll be getting loads of spondoolies. Why wouldn't they want a rematch? And as well, I want there to be a rematch. It's good. I think it's entertaining. Rematches is always better than the first match, and the build-ups is always better as well. And I think now we've got a story behind the fights. You know, now Jake Paul can't be giving Tommy Fury all of the stick that he did, even though he will, and talk about the knockdown, or he knocked him down by a jab. I think the build-up will be better, and they'll both know what to expect. There'll be less pressure on Tommy Fury. And if they do have a rematch, I see Tommy Fury winning more convincingly next time than he did this time, because now he's been there himself, been under the spotlight, under the pressure. And this being said, I'm a fan of Jake Paul. I love what he's done. I love what he's doing for boxing. I think he's really good for the sport of boxing. He is a real boxer. He works so hard